If you think this is all there is to the clitoris, you're among the majority of people who are very misinformed. So let's clear up some confusion. It wasn't until about 20 years ago that the clitoris was mapped. And I have this little model I bought on Amazon that I'm going to show you that the glans, which is what people think is all there is to the clitoris, the most sensitive spot actually, it's just like 1% of the surface area. Where is the rest? Before I show you that, this is like an anatomical model of the vulva. These are the outer lips, the inner lips. This is the vagina, and this is the urethral opening where the urine comes out. It's actually much closer to the vagina. It's like right above the vagina. That's why it's recommended after intercourse that women urinate, because anything can get in the urethra and irritate and cause a urinary tract infection. But definitely never lick on the urethra. It does not feel good. So, where's the clitoris? I'm going to turn this around to show you. It's directly under here. If you press on here, you will be stimulating it. Okay. So these are the clitoral legs and the vestibular bulbs. And just like men have different sized penises, like we have different sized hands and ears, and this is just a model, okay? And just like men's penises are shaped very differently. They're different sizes, girth, shapes. Some are curved, some have a pointy head, some have a big bulbous head. I am gonna just assume that for women also, the shape of this is very different. Maybe there's a little more here and a little less there and a little longer here, and maybe some of it goes inside the vagina deeply, some not so much. Some of it goes more back here or up here. You know, it's just erectile tissue that is covered by skin. It's really just under the labia. So if you have a woman that's standing, I guess she's standing like this. This would be facing down. Her legs would be here. You can put your hand underneath her and just rub like this to stimulate the whole thing. The reason I'm making this video is because I constantly still have to teach men about the clitoris, and even they rarely know. And I'm not surprised because, like I said, the clitoris was only mapped 20 years ago. My experience is that men are too quick and too rushed with the pussy. Too quick, too rough, and too rushed. It is up to us as women to educate our partners about what we like and really have them slow down. According to different studies that I've read, a woman requires 20 to 30 minutes of what they call foreplay, but it is sexual play, to become fully aroused. 20 to 30 minutes, ladies, 20 to 30 minutes. Maybe it's been difficult to ask for that or require that, especially if you're with a man who's rushed trying to get a quickie in at night before he goes to sleep, mindlessly. No wonder so many women don't want anything to do with sex. In my opinion, a woman who doesn't like sex has been with a man who is too rushed, too quick, too rough. And she hasn't used her voice to tell him because maybe it's hard to speak up. And who wants to speak up and say slow down when it's so obvious he doesn't care? I can totally relate to that. If he doesn't care, I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm just going to feel like I know he doesn't want to do this. I think that's where a lot of women don't speak up. Like, you should be able to tell that I'm not liking this. If you can't tell and you don't care, you know, Sometimes it's just hard to speak up. But if women need 20 to 30 minutes of what they call foreplay, I call it sex. I don't like the word foreplay because all touch is sexual. All kind of genital touch is sexual. So when we call it foreplay, we're degrading it as if it's not as important as intercourse. And intercourse is, to me, male masturbation in a vagina. Let's be real. The mechanics of it are male masturbation. It mimics the way that men stroke their penis. The only thing that would make it better than a male masturbating in a vagina is if there's some emotional connection and attention to the female's pleasure as well. And I think many women don't get that. Some men are just mindlessly masturbating in her vagina. So we ladies have to teach the men, hey, you want to have sex with me, I need you to slow down, learn a little bit about female anatomy. You have to slow down. If you want it to be quick, go find a guy. Go find a guy, because you guys get hard like that. If you want to be with a woman, it's an invitation to go into a little bit of a meditative space. And I only say that because it requires slowing down, being present, kind of like you do when you're looking up at the stars, watching a sunset, watching puppies play. You're just reveling in the pleasure of the moment without trying to rush to achieve a goal, which is like the guy getting in there and finishing. So with what they call foreplay, I don't even know what they mean when they say foreplay. Is it like social lubrication of like flirting? Are you talking, flirting, holding hands? Are you just touching her somehow, going down on her? I don't know what they mean with foreplay. My recommendation for getting a woman warmed up, first of all, it really helps the woman get turned on if she feels emotionally close to her partner and she feels safe and she can really let go. So that's the ideal. But I know that many women in relationships don't have that. So many of us we're not in a relationship, or we don't have the ideal relationship, but that is the ideal for the woman. But then I would also say what women really need is some social lubrication, some flirting, some time spent together, some attention on her. Then non-sexual touch, like you're stroking her hair or you're touching her arm or her lower back. I don't know if you guys meet a woman at a bar, or they're just at home watching a movie, or she's doing the dishes and he comes up behind her and just, starts rubbing her back or gives her a massage. These are all preludes that really benefit a woman's arousal. Because the more you do this, the more she's going to get turned on. This is very different than how men operate. You can have a couple at home and the guy's just, I don't know, maybe working on something on his computer or reading a book, and she comes out of the shower naked and he's hard. He's ready to go. A woman doesn't operate like that, okay? And ladies, we shouldn't try to. We shouldn't try to act like men, because we're not men. We're not designed that way. The way we're designed requires men to slow down and be present. That's what's required. And we should require that of them. It's good for them. It's good for their soul. It's good for their bodies to slow down and be present. It's kind of a meditative practice, to be honest. To let go of the outside world and be present with this woman. Anyway, So you do a little bit of rubbing her back and you start, I don't know if you're dancing, you're getting closer, you're doing some kissing. When you do go for her genitals, don't just grab it. Like, no. It feels like an attack, like you have no game, okay? When you do, imagine she's standing up, like I showed you before. And I think that women can also like grind on the guy, like if she's sitting on his thigh, just grind, or he can put his hand under her and grind. And I really think that they should start by touching her with either hand or tongue or whatever. Stay away from this for at least 5 or 10 minutes, in my opinion. Stay away from this completely. Do not even go there until she pulls you there. This is my number one recommendation to any guy who ever wants to touch me. The moment you make a beeline for there, I'm already turned off because you have ignored all of this and you seem frantic and anxious and clueless. So now I have to slow you down and give you an anatomy lesson. And believe me, I do. A man who knows what he's doing because he actually pays attention to women's responses never goes for that. But still, they're all too quick to go there. You want to spend a lot of time around here. You want to stimulate all of this and get her super engorged and wet. This is going to take time. It can take 25 to 30 minutes, and this engorgement will already happen with you being attentive to her, touching her lower back, kissing. This is already going to start. And they might call this foreplay, but I call it all sex play. You want to, and then when you start touching her, you want to touch here. In my opinion, ladies, speak up if you disagree. You want to touch here and here, but it'll be actually on the outside, right? You want to touch here. Never lick the urethra. Stay away from that. If she likes to be a little bit fingered, and be very gentle. Also, stay on the outside. Do not open her lips. Do not go to the pink part at all unless she's super wet and lubricated, because otherwise it's gonna hurt. It's like taking an uncircumcised guy and stroking his cock without lube. Guys who masturbate without lube won't know what I'm talking about, but most men do not like to be stroked without lube. It hurts. Okay? So, you want to be gentle. Don't be so eager. It's your slow approach that makes this all swell and open. The moment you get fidgety, it's going to just shut down. Like it doesn't like it. When she's ready, she can let you know. You can part the lips, go on the pink part, and move up to here. I think that you ought to let the woman come to you, whether it's sexually, whether it's for the kiss, whether it's for touching the pussy. A man should have the restraint and the frame to be like, here I am. You want it, right? Come to me. And if she feels safe and turned on, she's going to come to you. But I'll tell you, if the woman knows, in my opinion, if the woman knows you're going to be quick and gropey, she's not going to come to you. Because she already knows it's going to feel bad, and it makes sense. Why would you eat spinach if you hate spinach? Why would you approach a guy for sex or have him try to touch you if he's doing all this gropey stuff? Also, guys, when you start kissing, don't just ram your tongue down a woman's mouth. Like, start slow. Start with just the lips. And look at her once in a while and build it up slowly. Build it up slowly. You want to have her like open to you and want you. Otherwise, it just feels like an attack. And I'm speaking as a woman who likes sex. It's like, whoa. I think the only time you can go for it quickly is like you're in a new relationship. I remember this guy I was dating back when I was in college. I think I was like 20 or 21. And I'd met him at work. I was working at a nursing home at the time, and he worked there too. A super hot guy. We were both like 20, and we were newly dating. We were so hot for each other, and it was Valentine's Day, and that's when I still lived in Omaha, and it was like a blizzard out. We still went out, like there were hardly any cars on the road. We still went out to our dinner, and we had just ordered our dinner, and we were so turned on. We were so hot for each other. I was so turned on, engorged, wet, all that stuff. He was probably hard. We were so turned on that after we ordered the dinner, I'm like, I just want to go home and fuck you. And he's like, yeah. So we left before the dinner came. We paid the bill and we left, and we went home and just ripped each other's clothes off and fucked. Okay? So that's what happens. I had a lesbian friend once telling me that when she's in a new relationship, they'll spend all weekend in bed. They won't even eat. So in those cases, you can skip all the foreplay because everything is foreplay. It's all exciting. You're always turned on. I've had people tell me about sex 5 times a day in a new relationship. But if you're in a cold start situation like I am in my work, or you're in a long-term relationship where the newness has worn off, you got to take a little bit of time. You have to take a little bit of time. And it's up to each person to figure out what they want. Some men want more of a connection. And like normal people that they don't want to have sex with someone who's just doing them a favor or doesn't really want to be with them. So I think it's up to us ladies to say, I haven't really enjoyed sex and I don't know why. Let's figure out why. I think a lot of women don't know why they don't like it. I can tell you things I don't like. Guys just starting out by thrusting their tongue in my mouth or groping my tits, or where's my model? When they're going down on me, or they go right for this, or they grope me like this, or they go right for this, or they're frantically thrashing around down there. They're trying to please me. That's really their intent. They just don't know. They don't know because I don't know why they don't know. Usually the younger guys know. Younger men, and I'm speaking of men under 40 or 35 for sure, have grown up in a culture of empathy. They can read body language. They can tell how someone responds to them or to their touch. Some older men are just oblivious to it. I have no idea why. They just are an autopilot of how they've always done it. But they're very interested in learning. If a guy's not interested in learning, why are you having sex with him? I don't blame you for not wanting it. But so this is my whole pet peeve about sex with guys, is that they're too quick and too gropey, and also for women to have peak sexual enjoyment. It's hard because we are going to enjoy it more if we have a partner to whom we feel emotionally connected and safe, and that means a relationship. That means you're not just here to fuck me. You're part of my life because you're part of my life. Like, I can count on you. You're multidimensional in my life, right? Multidimensional, like we share common times of the day, not just sex. You're invested in my life in many dimensions of my life, not just trying to get sex from me. So our bodies respond to all this, right? So when they do the surveys of women's sexual satisfaction, I just read one, and the women who report vaginal orgasms say that those are only likely to happen, or almost only likely to happen, in a committed relationship with a partner they trust. Now, I don't know if this is a limitation on these women or if this is actually like a biological truth, but feeling safe, feeling like the guy, it's hard to explain. You know how it is when someone, you really like someone, like I was saying, these people are tearing each other's clothes off. What is that? There's some kind of connection there already building, that this person is there not just like for a booty call. I think for men, the sexual pleasure is as great with an escort as it is with a woman they're in love with. I think that when they're in love with the woman, they'll put in more effort and take more time, and they're not on the clock. But I think that their orgasm is going to be the same. And maybe the orgasm will even be better with the escort because she has some different tricks up her sleeve that the girlfriend doesn't have or the wife doesn't have. But I'm interested in knowing from the guys if you've noticed that your orgasms or your sexual pleasure, your erections, your arousal is more intense when you're in a relationship. My guess is no. But for women, yes. I want to hear from you, please, in the comments, what you have found about your sexual pleasure in a hookup, casual sex situationship that's solely sexual versus being in a relationship where you really feel safe and close and connected with someone attuned to your sexual pleasure. I'm curious. I would love to see some studies if you have them. Anyway, this wraps up my video. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to your comments.